Hey everyone, I'm back. I'm trying to make sure that I make more videos for this channel. I am wearing one of my favorite anime shirts. Hold on, let me show you. This is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Gun by my favorite character, Urameshi. That's his last name. I don't actually remember his first. And here's Hiei, the demon rival slash friend helper person. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about anime. I'm here to talk about Spanish. So I made a video talking about my revamp, and it was in English, and I said that I was going to make a Spanish version of it. This one is going to be an interpretation, so I'm going to play the video where I'm speaking English, pause it, and then do my best attempt at interpreting what I said. I haven't spoke Spanish in a while. Weeks go by without me speaking Spanish. I don't have anybody to speak Spanish with, unfortunately. So if you're a Spanish speaker and you want to speak with me, please email ramblerlangeduc@gmail.com. I'm pretty sure that's what the email is, but I'll post it in the comments below because I'm looking for people to practice my Spanish with, and I do not currently have any Spanish speaking friends that I can talk to on a regular basis, and I would actually prefer, organically met Spanish speaking friends rather than random internet people, because I've run into the problem of when you can talk with people internationally from the internet, they are randoms. And let's be honest, I'm a woman. There are a lot of people on these websites just looking for dating, romance, sex, inappropriate things, wanting to exchange inappropriate pictures. Just like, I'm here to learn a language. I just want to talk about language. I don't want this to turn into something inappropriate. And unfortunately, as a female linguist and language learner, websites that I've gone on to try to find international people to talk to, that has been my experience for the most part. I have found a couple, men that I can talk to that won't do that. And if somebody says, well, just talk to women, most of the people on those websites are men. I don't see a lot of women on those websites. But regardless, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to play it and then I'll pause it and say what I said in Spanish. I may have to rewind a little bit. It's coming. Hi everyone. It has been a minute since I've been on this channel, and I wanted to come on here and tell you that I finally have enough time. Alright, so I'd say like, hace mucho tiempo. It's been a long time. I don't know how to say since I've been, because that's like a tense change. But I can say hace mucho tiempo. It's been a long time. I could like change up the wording and say like, pero estoy aquí, but I'm here now. Regresando, I'm returning. And what else did I say? Oh, I said hola, hi. To make content for this channel. So estoy regresando para hacer. I don't know how to say content, so I'm returning to. I guess, how can I rephrase this? Estoy regresando para hacer videos nuevos. I'm returning to make new videos. And that's a part of interpretation. If I don't know how to say something, I gotta rephrase it. So this is not gonna be verbatim. You generally, most of the time, you cannot verbatim translate languages into other languages because sometimes it wouldn't make sense grammatically, culturally, nuance, idiom, and so you often do have to change the way you're saying something. I do want to revamp. I probably will delete most, if not all, the videos I've made for this channel. Also, there are words that I don't know in Spanish. I have a good vocabulary. I'm an advanced intermediate level. I am fluent. I can have a conversation an hour and beyond, but I don't know all words. So like the word revamp, I don't know how to say that in Spanish. I don't even know if it exists. So basically I was saying that I am here to I said I was gonna delete the old videos and make new ones. I can say, voy a hacer videos nuevos. I'm gonna make new videos. Y how do you say delete? Uh, I know to say end, which is terminar, but that's not. I want to say like get rid of, like delete. I could say mis videos viejos no van a quedar. So I'm saying that my old videos are not going to stay. So mis videos viejos no van a quedar aquí en este canal. My old videos are not going to stay on this channel. Or because they are years old, I want to give a different vibe to this channel. I'm dressed this way because this is the real me. Alternative, goth, punk, rock, metal. Okay, so this one's going to be a little challenging. So I'm saying that, again, I'm saying more of the same thing. I'm going to change the channel. The videos are going to be new and different. But I'm saying, in addition to changing the channel, that I'm going to be like my authentic self, that I'm not going to dress like a teacher. I'm not going to dress, in a suit or a blouse or professional. That, I'm going to be rawly me, and I'm not going to censor myself. Like, this is going to be a calm, chill class. I don't teach in a school system with children, so I don't have to worry about being caught on the internet cursing or teaching vulgar Spanish or saying something sexual or whatever. However, YouTube and their censorship, that's a different story, but whatever. So I'm saying, like, I'm going to dress the way I want to dress. The word for dress is vestir. So this is a reflexive, vestirse. So I'm going to say, like, me, me, me vesto, or me vesto, I think, en un estético, and I think that's aesthetic. Don't quote me. Or maybe I could say quiero vestirme. I want to dress myself. Quiero vestirme en una manera auténtica a mí, in an authentic way for me, to me. Mi estilo, my style, is gótica, gothic, rock. I'm assuming metal is metal, and I'm not sure because I'm talking about un género de música, genre of music, not like metal, the material. I don't know how to say punk in Spanish. I guess it's punk. Like things, all words don't translate. Sometimes you just kind of have to put like Spanish phonetic sounds on English words if they don't exist. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This is, like my first video in Spanish interpreting what I'm saying, and so I apologize. Like, there was a time that my Spanish was better, but like I said, I'm not speaking it on a regular basis, so give me grace. And I used to teach. I taught for 10 years in schools, all ages. Alright, so I'm saying, en el pasado yo enseñé. In the past, I taught. En escuela, in school. Yo enseñé por más de 10 años. I taught for more than 10 years. Yo enseñé niños, a la secundaria, a jóvenes, adultos, estudiantes en la universidad. So I'm saying, like, I taught little kids, I taught youth, I taught adults, I taught students in the university. I've taught all ages. Now, ages ain't that, so I could say yo enseñé, because I'm using the past tense. Yo enseñé. In the past, I taught gente de todas las edades, people of all ages. And I really struggled back then with the conformity of everything. So I'm saying that I struggled back then with the conformity of everything. So as you know, teachers have to wear professional dress. If you're teaching minors, you cannot be cursing, you cannot be saying things that are adult content. You have to to be a very censored, family friendly, plain, Susie Homemaker, Mary Margaret type person in the classroom. I understand why, and I'm not against that. However, I am me. That is not me. I'm not comfortable doing that. And I'm a great instructor, whether I have blue hair, tattoos, piercings, whatever. The school system is loosening up on that, and I appreciate it. I don't think, I have some more liberal opinions about, tattoos, piercings, and colored hair around children, but, ultimately the parents in the school get to decide what the the dress is required. And I felt like I was dying inside, having to work, most of the day, most of the time I'm awake, just having enough energy to come home and eat dinner and to wear professional clothes and to take on this persona that just, or even having to be professional in the way of not getting upset when the kids are making you cry every day and just being horrible and just having to try to keep that firm composure and actually have hope as a teacher when these kids are making you pull your hair out. So yeah, that was a real struggle. Now I don't know how to say struggle. I used to, but I do not remember how to say struggle. So I guess I could say back then I struggled. En el pasado, cuando yo enseñé, and I'm not sure if I should use enseñé o cuando estaba enseñando, because there's enseñé taught and then there's estaba enseñando when I used to teach. I'm not sure which one I should use because el preterito, the preterite is like short term past tense, and then estaba enseñado is like what I used to do. So, like, the problem is it's far away past tense as far as like when I started and when I was in the middle of doing it. But as far as when I stopped like 2 or 3 years ago. So I guess I'll use estaba. I don't want to use estaba enseñado because I still teach. I just don't teach in a school system. I teach on the internet. I teach on my YouTube channel. I teach whenever I have clients to tutor. So I am an active teacher. I'm just inactive by circumstance because I don't have any tutoring clients right now. But again, my services are here. It's $1 a minute, $60 for an hour, $30 for a half hour. And so just, let me know, hit me up if you want a lesson. Anyway, I'll also say I'll offer a deal. Sometimes people want to have like a lesson or two to see if it's right for them, and I'd rather have somebody have a lesson or two to see my style and see if I'm the right teacher for them, and then decide like after two, like, hey, this isn't really it for me, and leave rather than have somebody like sign up to have a series of lessons and then quit on me when I'm expecting them to continue. So I'll have a deal where I have a discount. You get 2 hours of lessons, but I knock 20 off. So 2 hours for 100 to test it out to see is this right for you, like the way I'm doing it, the style, and like it wouldn't be at once. I always recommend have a half an hour lesson twice a week rather than an hour once a week. Everybody doesn't have that kind of time to spare, but that's what I recommend. But anyway, I don't know how to say struggle, but I could say difficult, right? Difícil, or difficulties, dificultades. So I could say, en el pasado, cuando yo enseñé, yo tenía dificultades. Again, the problem is I don't know like which past tense I should be using right now, but I think I'm gonna try to use The issue is I know conjugation's better for el pretérito, for the preterite, like recent past. For making like I used to, I think it's called the imperfect. I don't know as many like conjugations for that one, but I'll try because I feel like the imperfect would actually be. I don't know. It's debatable because used to imperfect, there's the whole continuous versus it ended. So there's like what you used to do and you don't do it anymore, versus what you used to do and you also do it now. So it's a grammar thing. I'm not sure. So yo tenía dificultades en el pasado cuando yo enseñé los estudiantes. I had troubles, difficulties in the past when I taught the students. And I said a lot more besides, apart from what I said in this video, but let me try to name some of the difficulties I said. Like, okay, just being completely transparent here. Yo lloré muchas veces cada día cuando yo enseñé la secundaria. I cried many times a day when I was teaching high school, which was the last teaching engagement I had in 2021. Los estudiantes malcriados. Malcriado is like poorly raised or bad behaved, or like it's a negative, like this child is not, son malos, they're bad, and that's very taboo to say in school. You're not supposed to say that a student is bad. There are plenty of teachers who just write off students as bad and don't consider the home lives they're coming from or why they may be bad, or don't take the time to develop relationship. But at the same time, to say that all children are just good children having a hard time is false. There are kids who really don't want to be there, and while fine, I get not wanting to be at school. I was bullied, and school is not fun sometimes. But my biggest issue was trying to focus on teaching the students who do want to be there and learn, and the ones who don't, like making such a disruption that nobody can learn. And that makes teaching like pulling teeth. It's impossible. Or I can't develop relationships with people who've written me off as a teacher and already have made me the enemy and decided I don't care and they don't care and this class is stupid. And for that reason, even though I feel that learning other languages is very important and vital no matter where you are, that second language classes should not be required. They should be optional. They should be an elective. I also feel that second language classes should be done way earlier than high school. It should be done in the developmental years when kids are young and when they are learning about the world, so that they have less prejudice towards it, less struggle with it, and less like fight about it, because they're learning English alongside Spanish, and it doesn't have like all the social issues attached to it. Like, what do I need to learn Spanish for? Everybody in the world should speak English. That's a xenophobic, racist, nationalistic, problematic prejudice, and I don't know what the word is for like language discriminatory attitude to have, because the world is way bigger than the US and way bigger than English. I don't No one language should be, I know that's a little bit of a controversial take, because that's what Esperanto, a man-made language, tried to be, that there should be a global unifying language, which sounds like a good idea, but I don't like that for various reasons, and that'll be a separate video as to why I don't believe there should be a universal language that everyone knows and everybody should learn. I have my reasons for that. But anyway, moving on, I tend to go on tangents. Of having to dress and talk and act in a way that isn't natural to me and I prefer to teach adults. Teaching adults is best for me. When I did adult classes in local libraries, adults are there because they want to be. Alright, so what I'm saying here is that prefiero enseñar los adultos. I prefer to teach adults. In the past, I used to do language classes at local libraries. I don't know if I'll do it again because that came with its struggles as well. I didn't have to deal with misbehavior from younger students. I didn't have to deal with the school system. But the problem with the libraries is, one, libraries can't pay that much for what I'm giving, and what I'm giving is like sometimes 8 at the most, 4 at the least, and the medium, which I preferred, 6 language classes. I didn't just do like dipping your toes in Spanish, here's colors, days, seasons, months of the year. I wanted to teach language alongside Latino culture, and I had both in the class, and I made the language have significance through showing cultural content in the language. I would show music. I would tell the class about traditions like the quinceañera, the coming of age of 15-year-old girls, similar to cotillions or debutante balls. Women being presented to society as the age of marriage, and they're a woman now, they're not a girl. It's an old tradition. Or teaching a class about Day of the Dead, and what that represents, and the perspective of that, and the Catholic indigenous fusion of that holiday, and a cultural concept of death being a continuation and not having like the same like morbid taboo concept of it that we do here in the United States. And celebrating life, dressing up as skeletons and having a little skull, calaveras, and the Catrina, representing that no matter what class you are, we all die. Death is an equalizer. No one's higher or below than that. So just going over that, showing them videos like reggaeton, salsa, merengue, bachata, even bomba. Showing them that Latinos come in all colors, shapes, and sizes. We just have, like tan skin, dark hair, like, our perception of what Latinos look like on TV is very stereotypical, and everybody doesn't have a chance to have like Latino friendships or relationships, or have a closeness with Spanish speaking people to know the variety and cultural staples of 22 Spanish speaking countries with their own regions and dialects. And it's, but again, I have a tendency to go off, and I'm sorry, I just get really passionate. So that's what I did in my classes, and I went over grammar, I went over how to say sentences, I went over more than just vocab, pronunciation, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and it was really a Spanish 1, Spanish 2 hybrid class, and somehow I was able to like jam all of that in. I'm not saying I should have taught that much that fast. I know for a fact that it overwhelms some people, and sometimes I get so like passionate in my teaching that I would end up like running academically past my students, and they're like, I'm trying to catch up with you, and I'm like, and I'll forget, like, you're teaching people that know no other languages, and the adult classes were mostly like middle-aged or older people, so it's like, that's a lot, like, slow down. It's very hard for me to slow down as a teacher. I'll admit my flaws. I go too fast, and I put too much stuff into a lesson. I try to break things down and make them simple, but I also get sidetracked. So, yeah. It is an option. They're not forced to take an elective, and teaching a language class to children that don't want to be there is like pulling teeth. I will share some stories of teaching woes, teaching advice, language lessons, language. Okay. By the way, I will not be able to translate all of this at once because one, my phone doesn't have infinite room, and two, this is a half-hour video, and I have interpreted not even 2 minutes. I'm at 1 minute and 42 seconds. Again, it has to do with the fact that I'm not just interpreting it. I'm also like saying other points and elaborating, but this will be in several parts, which is fine. I'm just trying to decide whether I'm going to do a half an hour video and cut this off at a half an hour, and start labeling this in parts, or if I will go an hour, or even 45 minutes, really until the camera tells me it's out of room. So I think I'll go past the half an hour. I mean, it's the watcher's choice to when they want to stop the video, and there's short form content and long form content, so I guess I would at least like to get through the first 5 minutes. And I am kind of repeating myself. I'm saying, like, prefiero las clases de la biblioteca cuando yo enseño los adultos. I'm saying I prefer the classes in the library when I teach the adults. Porque los adultos no son estudiantes en una clase, because the adults are not students in a class, y porque ellos pueden decidir si quieren entrar una clase de español. So I'm saying the adults can decide whether they want to enter a class of Spanish or not. And I was saying, like, what kind of videos I'm going to be teaching. I'm not just going to be making videos about my experience teaching or Spanish, pero yo quiero hacer videos sobre maneras mejores de enseñar. I want to make videos like teaching teachers, like what are better ways to teach, in my opinion. I want to make videos about linguistics. Linguistics. Because, fun fact, let's learn some terminology. When you learn a language and you become fluent in that second language, the target language, you are a bilingual. You know like 2 languages, right? When you learn 3 languages fluently, you are a trilingual. When you learn 4 or more languages, you become what is called a polyglot. Poly meaning many. 4 or more makes you a polyglot. I'm an aspiring polyglot, but I do need people with whom I can practice the language. I want to, I want to learn French. I know a little. I don't have a problem pronouncing it. I have great pronunciation. That is one skill that has helped me through language learning, is my attempt at learning various languages. I know a little and a lot, but more than anything, linguistics is the study of the structure of language. So I end up being able to give people the illusion that I am fluent in other languages. I don't pretend to be, but when I'm talking about various languages in a linguistic sense and explaining the structure of it, there are people who are like, oh my gosh, how many languages do you know? I'm not fluent, meaning I can have a full-on conversation in many languages. I am only fluent in English and Spanish. And Spanish, I'm not even at an expert level. I can hold a conversation. I can explain a lot of stuff myself, coming from myself, but hold on, it's at 29:49. I'm just making sure that this video doesn't cut itself off automatically. So let me just see. Alright, cool, it's still going, because I didn't know if my camera was gonna, like, shut the video off at, like, a half an hour, but I'm just gonna go till we run out of time and then upload it. So anyway, what I was saying was a linguist can be monolingual. Monolingual means you only know one language. So I could just be an English speaker and be a linguist. And a linguist studies the structure of language. And so knowing about a language, knowing about its grammar, knowing about its pronunciation, knowing about its history, knowing about how it works is not the same as having the ability to speak in it. As well as literacy. Literacy is the ability to read and write in a language, and there are plenty of people who speak and understand language, but they are not literate. The literacy rates in the United States is really scary. So just because somebody can speak a language doesn't mean they are literate. It doesn't mean they can read and write in it. But also, just because someone can speak a language does not mean they can understand it. And so, where this becomes an issue in Spanish speakers is that there are Latino kids that know just English, and then with adults that are bilingual, their parents are only Spanish speaking, and then with grandparents that like know no English at all. Or maybe the parents have thick accents, or their English is not the best. I try to avoid saying the term broken English because that implies that there's a brokenness about it or something's wrong. Again, I have my own opinions about accents, but moving to that later. So, you have kids who they're Latino, they may speak English only, no accent, but they understand Spanish, but they don't know how to speak it. Or it could be vice versa, where like they understand English, but they're not good at speaking it, or they speak it so poorly they just don't attempt because people can't understand them anyway. So there's a lot of different cases in which this can look, and the system of how ESL works in schools. I've applied to be an ESL teacher, and the problem is I don't drive. And ESL teachers, they are not assigned to one school, mostly. They're assigned to several schools. The ESL kids meet with them maybe once or twice a week, and they just travel. And I think that is such an awful, horrible system. There are many different ways ESL can look like ESL students